Hello, everyone, and welcome to North American Strikers Academy. I'm here with Weston, and we're about to watch a top of the table matchup: the 3-1 Knaresborough Strikers versus the 4-0 PP Legends. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to watch this game, excited for Bestie Brawl later. And yeah, I mean, NBS has been on a 3-game winning streak. They started with a loss, but have been looking really strong. And PPL, always the top of the class of NASA. And so, yeah, I think we have a great game on our hands. And yeah, excited to see it.
Definitely. We're gonna get into game in just a second here, if we can. We're heading on to Demon Deus first. Not a map that is too commonly seen. Of course, it's picked once or twice, but it's a very damage-heavy map. It's a very gameplay warping map. And what are your thoughts on it, given these two teams?
Yeah, very damage heavy map. And you have the Deadeye start, which I think just even further warps how it's going to be played. And so you see that the Finny, I'm surprised, drops all the way to the end, but the Amy and Kai are really important picks there too. With Perfect Form and Deadeye, I think both of those are so strong on the right characters that it makes for a really difficult draft where you try to figure out who's going to be the damage comp. And you see how it ended up. They kind of both went for it a little bit, but I think NBS with that X and with the Kai going to be a little bit more core control heavy, but Perfect Form X is just going to be able to put out so much damage on their own that I think it can go anyway. And the Awakening drafts, especially the first couple, are going to be really important in seeing who's able to survive and who falls to all this damage.
Absolutely. As soon as both teams are ready, we should be heading into game. And I think that on the goalie end, as I'm sure you're a little bit familiar with, it's a bit interesting that NBS has opted for their composition, no? Like, just looking at it on the Demon Deus point of view.
Yeah, usually you see less melee, and if you do have melee, it's usually an Asher who's able to just force those lanes a little bit more. So Dubu obviously with the ult can do that, but it's a little bit more, you have to have your timing right, whereas Asher you just charge in there, you primary, you ult. And so yeah, I think the goalie pick is a little bit suspect, but obviously they feel good enough about it. This wasn't their map pick, but they let it through the first round, so I assume they're comfortable with this Dubu and feeling good about it, but Finny usually such a priority pick on this map and falling all the way to the end of the draft is really interesting, and we'll see if MBS, regrets letting that go and going with the Dubu instead.
Yep, Dubu goalie for Evil Do Danger could be susceptible to the damage here on the other side. I'm really liking the comp coming out from the PP Legends. They have everything they need. They have so much damage as well with the Finny Amy combo, to the point where I think I might even say that I would bet that they're gonna win. But we'll see what happens in the game itself as we load into Demon Deus for our first game of the day.
Yeah, and Striker Kai on the Kai, the only one going for Deadeye, everyone else taking perfect form, and so for the aim, oh, something's going on. But for the Finny and the Amy, even though Deadeye is so strong, they both decided that perfect form, just giving more cooldowns, would be more damage than the Deadeye would allow them.
Looks like Alter has not been available actually. Oh no, it's a ping thing. Two members of this game have 100 milliseconds of ping. It looks like Denver's acting up possibly. That's a little unfortunate. We'll probably be seeing a remake here before too long. And well, other things that we could take note of though: Fiery on the Juliet, not a pick we see too often on Demon Deus, right?
Yeah, the perfect form, it makes a lot of picks strong, and I think it definitely helps Julie here. But yeah, not as common of a pick just because size isn't as much of a factor on Julie, and so you don't lock those lanes down as strong as someone like X. But with perfect form, gonna have a ton of cooldowns, and I think, like you said, PPL their comp is just really strong. Where I agree, I would definitely favor them here. Whenever we're able to play, because it looks like Denver doesn't want us to.
Yep. Oh wait, no, this is Dallas apparently. Dallas is acting up and giving people 100 ping for no reason. That's a little crazy. But yeah, this is absolutely a central server. I am very East Coast and I'm getting 60 milliseconds, unless this is an East server that's completely blown up for everyone. That's
Based on my ping, it's Dallas.
yeah.
So.
Well, that's a little awkward. But it's going to be a remake either way, so I think we've talked all that we can about the comps here. Let's talk a little bit about the players. Of course, NBS has had this roster for the season so far. Evil Do Danger, long-standing melee goalie specialist, has picked up the Kai on occasion, but usually the most comfortable on picks like the Dubu and the Atlas. On the other side, Bloom, Average, Alex, and Fiery, some of the most veteran players, I think, stretching all the way back to season 1 for Fiery, who notably qualified for both leagues, I believe, both Nassau East and West, back when that was a thing. But we're getting into draft. We're going to get back into game, so maybe I should stop chatting about the players for now.
Yeah, I think Bloom, being a former midfielder, if I'm not mistaken, really going to be really comfortable on any pick, and that helps your team a lot and helps you be able to flex stuff because they took the Amy here, and I'm sure they were comfortable with it in any role. But they ended up getting the Amy and the Finny, which, like we've said, as we've yapped, as the delays keep coming, gives them a really strong comp. And once again, I feel like PPL has the advantage there, but Evil Drew Danger going for the comfort on a melee pick. And yeah, now that we're finally in, we'll see how these team comps that we've talked about stack up, or we won't.
It looks like the ping has struck back, I believe, if the chat in the team thread is accurate. Yeah, they're aborting their plans and going to Denver and seeing what happens, because Dallas is not kind to us today.
Third time's the charm, hopefully, here.
It's awkward too, right? Because usually it's Denver that's acting up. But this time it appears it is Dallas, so maybe this time it'll be okay. And wow, I don't think we're equipped for 3 remakes. We have talked about a lot of things. Are you looking forward to Grand Blue later in the day?
I am looking forward to Grand Blue. A lot of my friends play it, and so I had never played it myself, but seeing that it was part of the Bestie Brawl repertoire, that kind of gave me the last motivation to pick it up. And been playing it for like a week and a half now, so I don't have too high of expectations for myself in the bracket, but I'm really excited and to watch all the games later. And I think it's gonna be really cool having NASA go straight into that, and I'm excited.
Yeah, but if these delays keep up, it might not be quite a good thing that we've scheduled it this way, but
Yeah.
probably won't happen. A lot of notable players, Omega Strikers wise, in that bracket. Not just you, but Lola Mao and Natty are the two ones that I think most people will recognize, but also Bloodaches and Cragley, who have shown up once or twice.
Yeah, a lot of we were talking earlier, 3 of the Cosmic Calamities players, including myself as a sub, will be in the Grand Blue bracket, which currently only has 9 players. So we're making up a big chunk of it. And yeah, it'll be cool seeing a lot of Omega Strikers players in there, and then also some new faces who have hopefully just found the tournament through other means and hopefully come back in the future. So big day ahead of us, and hopefully now finally we have map 1 of this series starting.
Yep, getting right into it this time for sure. As it looks like the ping is good for everyone, we're getting right into game. And immediately, I'm noticing how close Alter is playing to the edge, something that Fiery could possibly pick up on, as you kind of are forced near the edge on Demon Deus, but especially in these situations, Alter and the Striker Kai are going to be in danger a lot of the time.
Yeah, I noticed that immediately as well. Alter playing so close, and oftentimes that's something that the goalie can kind of try to pass away from that or pass toward that if they trust the ability to stay alive as they push into the corner, and Striker Alter gets the reset off the ult and puts it in with the X Maximus.
Quick first goal, and meter built up as well with the flip available. Good start for NBS, but again, it's such a volatile game, and of course the damage scaling such into favor of PPL that this first set really doesn't really tell us too much early on.
Yeah, the first Awakening draft can be really important for who's able to scale into that damage better. or if a team goes for more survivability to try to nullify the damage. It seems like just an arms race going for the most damage possible. Seems like the moves, but Evil drew danger with a great save there.
Alter not long for the swirl and Bloom, sniping out with the strike shots, takes away the X, but it's actually the Summer Assault from Drew, securing the KO back onto the Brawler on the other end. Fiery going down, and as the respawn comes in, it's a power play momentarily for the Kai, perhaps with Striker Kai a little too far away. Drops back to defend, but unable to find too much footing as Fiery goes in, but a good clear will save the day yet again for NBS.
Yeah, Evil Drew Danger has the flip on this map. As a melee goalie, it pretty much always has to be used defensively. As the wall comes out, there it's used defensively, sent around to the corner. Maloom misses the strike shot, but Striker Kai passes ahead to Alter, who misses the shot.
Oh, that's a little bit rough there. The NBS offense definitely could have been better aimed, but they'll have plenty more tries if Striker Kai keeps passing it up to Alter. There again, a little bit of a missed opportunity. And now Fiery and Alex trying to attack on the top side, trying to cover the options. But Drew sees those from a mile away. Dash punch saved by Striker Kai on the assist. And somehow PPL have not gotten the goal yet.
Yeah, Evil Drew Danger showing maybe the melee goalies, we shouldn't have doubted him because he's continuing to hold it down in that corner. Average Alex pushing ahead with the flip, and that's probably going to be what has to score this goal. But no, it's the glitch pop from Alex, and it puts it into the corner.
Well played by Average Alex, maintaining a flip into this next point here. And 2 points in, I guess. What are your thoughts about how these teams are pushing forward, how they're playing the offense?
The one thing about a Dubu on this map is Dubu, one of his strong suits as a melee goalie is his ability to push up better than most of the others, especially with those ults. But once the goal is open on this map, it's just so hard to push up as a Dubu because of things like that. There's just so much open space and the map is so long that you can't really get in there and help your teammates like you like to on other maps like Tycho Night Market. And so I think once the goal is open, the advantage is definitely going to be to PPL, but just because their goalie has much more influence over the game and isn't having to just hurdle down and be as defensive.
We'll see if that's indeed the case. Drew, flip available, Striker, Alter as well, but 2 barriers already down. It's doomsday for NBS as they try to take barriers of their own. They take one, looking for another, but the X a little too immobile at this point in the game. Fiery brought low, but that KO is not looking likely, but Drew snipes out with the Summer Assault, makes the possibility a reality, and now Bloom with the flip will have to find something on the defense, it looks like, but no, the goals open up, and Striker Alter in there with the flip available in the bottom side, not quite getting it.
Yeah, a bit of a wasted flip there as it was right in the middle of the sentry turret, so not able to find anything, and now they're low on energy. Maloom and Average Alex both close to a flip or having a flip, so it looks like PPL, if they can get this core out, will be able to have the advantage. Evil Drew Danger misses the dash, but still able to hold it down so far. But you see Maloom's influence just coming from all the way on the other side of the map, gets the core up to Fiery, who puts it in.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the big finish across the entire map, the presence from Bloom and Average Alex, the one getting the MVP here. And looking at the first few awakenings, first few picks in the draft, what are you looking at that might turn this game in PPL's favor?
Extra special on Finny is always really scary. It's going to go on the Amy here, which makes a lot of sense because both of them are just able to so consistently get those barriers. But the Monumentalist is really going to do the same thing as that extra special for Finny. Just keep it in there and get barriers quickly. But you see NBS opting for the speed with both Spark of Agility and the stacks on stacks. Rapid Fire going to Julie to close it out, but I do like what NBS here got here. They got some speed and they got size on Striker Alter, but just absolute bis of bis for both Amy and Finny in this draft is going to make it really hard for NBS. Absolutely,
but they get early damage on Fiery and Alex, which means at this point, at the very least, is swinging in their favor for a moment. So much damage on the Fiery, almost staggered, almost taken away. Trying to find some offense with the Flame Flurry, but not able to this time as Alter once again building up so much energy. Has a flip already this early into the set, and this could be really dangerous though as Drew loses the barrier to Fiery, who somehow finds some offense despite being targeted for most of the point.
Yeah, no survivability really going to anyone there, and so it's still going to be kind of the same KO patterns as Striker Alter's looking for Average Alex here, but they get the barrier sort of on accident, and now the goal's open on the side of PPL.
Really good defense by Bloom, though, using the return, but there, Striker Kai covering the clear and getting the first goal of the set in the favor of NBS. Bloom with a valiant defense, but eventually running out of resources there.
And that little extra bit of speed from the spark of agility for Striker Kai, able to get them up to able to catch that clear.
Oh, really big overextension for Evil Do Danger, but he turns that overextension into a bit of a bait, taking out the Brawler with the help of Alter, I believe, on that top side. And now Striker Kai in with the barrage, finding the barrier. And now Alter in there with the strike reset. Good clear by Bloom, forced to flip, but Alter is ready for the out clear. NBS turning it around. They might have gotten what they needed.
Yeah, the Kai is so consistent at getting barriers on this map, and like I talked about, they really want to, usually you don't really see the barriers be as important because of all the damage, but they really want to dominate the barriers because Dubu not as good in the open net, and their team really strong once those barriers go down, and so the Kai's been able to confirm them, but Striker Alter goes down, and now they'll have to play defense against the extra special Amy and the Monumentalist Finny.
That Monumentalist not just holding the core, but also doing a ton of damage as the power play might turn into a triple very soon. Evil Do Danger incredibly low, staggered already, and can easily be knocked away from the play, running to try and find an orb on the other side, perhaps, but the respawns come in. And now I think Average Alex needs to be the one who has to be careful, because this barrier finally goes down, but Alex is still very, very low.
Yeah, gonna have to use the flip and put it in. A good confirm there, so they're able to get a point in this set. You saw just Drew Danger pushed out of the goal box for far too long. Striker Alter did the best Zoli impression that they could, but weren't able to hold that barrier forever. And a good confirm, a good flip from Average Alex there.
Striker Kai now running all across the map, looking for an opening once again, but the Monumentalist Finny special, not quite enough to get the barrier though. Good defense by NBS as Fiery doesn't hit the core with the punch, but strikes afterwards and gets it regardless. But so far, it's been a bit of a shaky offense for PPL in this set. They really need to regroup and find a way to make it more consistent, because NBS has been thriving on PPL's lack of ability to send the core up consistently. But maybe they found what they need as Fiery takes the second barrier.
Yeah, the Monumentalist and the extra special put so much pressure on that they need to have those first few cooldowns, get the goal open, and they've done it this point. We'll see if they're able to confirm even up this set. But they're pushing ahead, and they're finding the KOs and the damage. Fiery with a dash punch into the corner, and now Bloom able to push up and help his forwards.
Oh, really good attempt by Drew, stunning the core and walking back to try and space out the dash punch, but Dubu's just a little bit too big, and Fiery will earn yet another goal for PPL. The Legends one goal away from a 2-0 lead, making a bit of a comeback here, but Alter's flip and Drew building a flip could be scary, but this is a perfect big finish. Two barriers taken in an instant, and the detonation scores the goal, a 7-second goal for PPL.
Yeah, that was exactly when we had that last draft, what you worry about with Monumentalist on Finny, and that was a perfect Julie ult to keep it in there and then get it onto the other side, so the release put it right into the goal. And that was just exactly what PPL needs from their comp and from their awakenings that they've had.
Looking at this draft, though, I don't think PPL is getting exactly what they want here. They might deny Stagger Swagger, perhaps, and they do indeed take it on the Julie. Fiery, plenty of damage awakenings available as well. That Super Surge and that Twin Drive going to do a lot of work to keep that damage up in the favor of PPL here. And really, the durability scaling still not there for NBS.
Yeah, and Striker Kai able to get the second spark, and it being resilience is really important. So more speed, more survivability. But the Twin Drive from Bloom is going to be able to let him do exactly what we were talking about, which is just influencing from the other side of the map, especially when those barriers are down. So the Twin Drive going to really help with that, but I think both teams, NBS has to be pretty happy considering they lost the set, what they were able to get out of that.
Yep, Fiery and Average Alex, though, these creations, such an obstacle, but this time Alter strikes it away at the right time, looking for two barriers here, as Drew is now the target for the damage. Alter trying to strike Ward 2, unsuccessful. Fiery has already taken out the Dubu on the other end. The weakness of that pick on Demon is getting KO'd, and we're seeing it right here as Fiery advances the core, and Alter is brought so low and debuffed as well.
Yeah, almost a bell ringer back into the goal right as it opened there, but not quite. Striker Alter needs to use this flip before he gets KO'd. Maybe not able to as Fiery. Both of them staggered, but not able to get it off before they're KO'd. And now PPL has the chance to score on this power play.
Fiery unstaggered now, not going to get knocked back to the other side of the map by that Dubu. Average Alex looking for a strike in, trying to send it to the center, trying to force it through a little bit too much, it feels like, as Drew gets a casual clear to the top side, to the bottom side around Alex as well. And Bloom with a flip available now, needs to stare down Alter, really calm and collected, dribbles away. Fiery, a bit of a play, trying to mix up Drew Danger, but not quite, as Alter now to the top side, forcing out the strike shot from Bloom, still on target, but now it's a Tofu Fortress sending the core away. Firewall Sentry will stall it for a little bit longer. Big finish. Bloom misjudges the timing and own goals a little bit. That's a little unfortunate for PPL.
Yeah, unfortunate timing on the ult, and Average Alex had a chance to get 3 sentry turrets out that point, and they still weren't able to score. Striker Kai, with those barrages, was doing a great job of nullifying what is such a strong suit for this comp, especially with the extra special. But they just need to confirm those more consistently. And they have a chance there, but they still not able to get the barriers as quick. But Evil Drew Danger getting pushed down with the damage once again.
Average Alex on the bottom end. Fiery already finding a KO, brought low, but both barriers are already down, and PPL looking quite favored here. If they can find one stuffing play, but a quick KO found onto Fiery will turn the tables a little bit. One barrier take could really turn this point around in the favor of NBS, but so far a good job of stalling coming out from PPL as they send the core with the big finish across the entire map. Drew Danger clears it away for a moment. Fiery's dash punch doesn't work out, and the Flame Flurry goes wide as well as Drew Danger holds on, but it's Fiery with a simple strike ward to the top side, securing the point and tying up the set.
Perfect pass from Bloom on the secondary up to Fiery, who found the corner perfectly. And what you're seeing a lot is Evil Drew Danger getting so much damage thrown at him that Striker Kai is having to do a lot of the defending. And you see that level advantage on his teammates. You know, he's doing a great job keeping them in these points with the defending, but it's just such a struggle when your Dubu's getting pushed out of every single point and your Kai has to purely play defense.
Absolutely, a bit of a tricky situation now as Fiery tries to find some presence on the top side, but it's Striker Alter who finds the first barrier. Burns the flip for it though. Moon brought low, potential KO on the side of NBS perhaps, as Evil Drew Danger spaces away and the barrier still stands in the favor of the Strikers. Bloom still low on the other side, always under threat from this X, but maneuvering around just barely, and now Striker Kai could be the target with no meter available, but the snipes don't quite come through as it's body blocked by Alter. And once again, it is PPL just struggling to get on the offense too consistently here.
Yeah, backwards ult and then a missed flip costs Bloom a lot there, but a great strike war keeps them in the point despite those misplays, and now they get it ahead to Fiery, who's looking for it. Drew Danger has the flip, and Average Alex sends it up to Fiery, who misses the dash punch.
Little unfortunate there, stuffed away by Evil Drew Danger. Summer Assault, a good barrage extended through to Alter, but now the passing plays can start from NBS. To the bottom side it goes. Alter trying to position for it. Not quite enough to get it past, and now Evil Drew Danger forced in a lot of difficult decision making, but has succeeded in all of them so far. An unfortunate clear, tough spot for Bloom, but flip not used by Alter, used to KO, but Fiery wins the strike war, saves the day for a moment, still defended by PPL, and the Firewall Sentry will help as well, but that top side's looking a little scary. But the log will send it back into control of NBS. Sniper swiped away. Fiery looking for a shot, looking to keep the core in their hands as Bloom has come back. And PPL, they weathered the storm, but for how much longer?
Yeah, Average Alex looking for a dribble play to himself, doesn't quite find it, and Evil Drew Danger gets the somersault to stun there. They're both getting close to a flip, but if they can get it to Striker Alter, has the X Maximus ready to do a reset, and Striker Kai gets the flip, but not able to keep it in the hands of Striker Alter just with all this space. Always gets away from that immobile X.
Seeing a little bit of overtime Demon Deus gameplay here where no one could fully get control, but it's a strike war win by Striker Kai. 2-1 lead now for NBS, but they've been in this spot before. They need to get it done. They need to close it out.
Yeah, so many chances for both teams there, but Striker Kai with just a crucial strike war that Bloom put Average Alex into, and Striker Kai has been doing a lot on both ends this game. We'll see if they're able to keep this game alive with another point in this set, or if PPL, with the power of those KOs, can get it done here.
Trying to send it forward yet again. They almost own barrier though. They've had a few mishaps that are really helping run out the clock on the respawns in the favor of Knausborough strikers here, as Fiery's brought low, almost KO'd, blasted off to space here. And PPL, once again, they face an open net, but the question is, can they score efficiently enough?
Yeah, Bloom doing such a good job in the open net, but so many backwards secondaries and ults have been finding his own barriers, which is making it so much easier for NBS, but has remained calm with the goal open and has held these a lot. Great save from Evil Drew Danger there. Through the cyber swipe, Bloom still holding on and gets it up to Fiery.
Trying to find another opportunity here are NBS. Average Alex constantly keeping Drew on his toes, but Drew's not falling for any of the tricks coming out from the Aimi. Never hitting it to the open space that Aimi likes to play with. Striker Kai now looking for Giga Blast, finds the KO onto Bloom with just a single Giga Blast. That's why he took Deadeye over Perfect Form. Just needs to make that Giga Blast impactful every single time, and Drew's having a pretty good time defending this open net so far. Rolling past, but it's actually Drew who rolls too close to the sun. Fiery just flame flurries it in. That was a really dumb point.
Yeah, had a pass to Striker Kai, but instead hit it into the Julia and then tried to somersault. It's kind of the melee goalie classic of hit it into them and use an ability instead of passing to your midfielder, and it cost them there, and now it has a chance of costing them the opportunity to extend this game another set.
Yep, especially if PPL can really get it going with these two flips. They have so much energy available. If they can catch Evil Drew Danger out mispositioning a little bit, if they could use this big finish, they get one out of it, and they burn the flip from Drew Danger. Huge value on the Finis special, but Alex finding the second barrier as well, and Fiery still maintains flip but wastes it. All comes down to this for PPL.
Yeah, it feels like they need to score here, especially with all this pressure that they have. They're not able to find the KOs yet, but Bloom with the big finish finds the corner right before the Tofu Fortress can block it.
And PPL, they secure the first game of this series. PPL looking good so far. Of course, the scoring looks shaky, but it's Demon Deus. I think that can be excused. Not a map you see too often, although I believe PPL did indeed pick it, so maybe I'm excusing them a little too much.
Yeah, they picked it, and they had a lot of unfortunate plays. Like you said, struggled to find the consistency on offense, but they did enough to win that, and you see the damage numbers on their side just extremely high. Back and forth in a lot of the sets, but they were able to find all three and do enough consistently to find that game. We'll see if they can find more consistency on our second map, which will be Clarion, more of a traditional two-barrier map. But yeah, have to feel pretty good about 3-0ing that, even though if it was a little shaky.
Absolutely. Clarion Test Chamber now, NBS's pick. They've seen a lot of success on historically, but so has pretty much every other team in the history of Omega Strikers, to be fair. PPL side select blue, no surprises there. Yeah, I'm not sure what NBS will opt for, because especially on this map, I think they have a history of Drew actually picking the Kai and trying to fly a little bit, which is a lot more achievable on this map. But I'm not sure if they'll opt for it. I think it'll really depend on the draft here.
Yeah, that's sort of a strength of this team, where they can probably pick the Kai if it's not banned and then flex it where they need to. But something like a Dubu is going to be a little less. I mean, it's suboptimal on Demon Days, and I think it's also a little suboptimal here. But yeah, the Kai, if it goes into the goalie role, I do like it there for them. So yeah, it's their pick. I'm sure they have a plan here, but it should be a very different draft, just less damage focused, but it kind of all depends on the awakenings, and we'll see what those are.
Yep. We should be getting the draft in just a few seconds. But also, another thing to point out about this PPL roster, right? I wonder if that first game was more of a warm-up game, because they did feel like, maybe they weren't fully ready. Maybe Average Alex was asleep, not that they played badly. They still won the game, but we kind of see a lot of the time where teams aren't like fully warmed up for their first game and come into the second game swinging. So that's something that might happen because PPL, they're 4-0. They're a team that's looked very confident for all of qualifiers, like all of everything regarding NASA, and they could show an even scarier face in the next game.
Yeah, and especially on Demon Deus, even though it's their pick, not a traditional map, so not quite as easy to just get right back into the flow of things. So, yeah, I agree. They might come out with a different gear for the second map now that they're woken up. You know, Average Alex might have been prepping late night for Bestie Brawl later, but they're awake now, and now they're gonna have to go to NBS's pick. But yeah, they're the class of NASA, and we'll see if they can show it and get a 2-0, because I noticed looking back they have gone to 3 maps a few times this season. NBS actually has gone to 3 maps in every single one of their series this season. So we'll see if they're able to keep the streak alive by getting their map pick here and forcing it to Inkies on map 3. But first, they got a lot of work ahead of them.
Absolutely. Looking at the draft, though, it is a bit of a crazy start. Fight or Flight and 1-2 Punch, so it's either a lot of character speed or a lot of core speed, and I think Fight or Flight's going to be pretty well picked in this one. That the speed it gives is just absolutely game warping. The midfielders will be having a field day, but PPL right away, Fiery on the classic Juliet, will be looking for those dash punches. On the other end, the melee goalie returns. It is a debut for Evil Do Danger.
Yeah, and PPL banned the Atlas because I think he's by far the strongest melee goalie that you could pick here. So they force him onto the Dubu, which, like I said, just not a pick that I love, especially like, you know, you get to the bouncy castle map, it just goes around. Like the strategy with melee goalies is you hit around them. And I think Clarion, a few of the variants make it really easy to do that. And so they could struggle with that, but they do pick up the Kai, which is always a priority pick for them. We'll see how PPL responds in the draft to that. But yeah, already I like what PPL has going better, just getting Fiery on that signature pick, and the Dubu, it'll be hard to defend on this map, especially against a Julie. And we'll see what the second pick is for them. Not going to be Amy again.
It is instead the Rune coming out, which means that is most likely a now goalie, a pick that's been skyrocketing in presence over the past few weeks. A pretty versatile goalie, and especially with that Fighter Flight, because now hits the core so easily, hits things so easily with a secondary. The now just has so much presence in the net, even with Fighter Flight, an awakening that's usually weaker on the goalie than on the forwards.
Yeah, I agree. Able to teleport in and then make use of that Fighter Flight. And I think Bloom thrives on picks just like that when they're able to get in and make it happen. You know, you saw the Finny last time was more with the abilities themselves, but this time going to be able to actually teleport in and have their influence. And with the Rune too, sort of the same thing of being able to be across the map and then influence the game with portals. And so it's gonna be really difficult to clear here for Evil Drew Danger. You know, just now is popping up in your face, pillars coming out. But they round out their comp with the Rasmus here. Very strong pick on Aquarion, and a big get in pick number 6 in the draft.
Heading into the draft very, very quickly now. And yeah, that Rasmus, a classic for the side of NBS. But again, I really like PPL's comp, just like I did last game. I think it is good in theory and in practice here. And the now is going to be pretty good at holding it down versus the single hit of the Rasmus. Going to struggle a little bit more against the Kai, I believe. But still be serviceable in terms of stalling enough to get a vertical clear out. But the Rune, the Rune's the real X factor.
It looks like Rune is going to be the goalie.
Oh, I was not looking. Omega Strikers reading challenge, except reading is a massive picture of Rune. Bloom has played this a lot in the past, so I'm not the most surprised, but usually we don't see Rune goalie.
Yeah, it makes for a different dynamic than the now goalie and Rune midfield. Still, either way, you're dealing with a lot of projectiles, or creations rather, coming in front of the Dubu. But yeah, really interesting. You don't see the Rune goalie as much, but Bloom is comfortable on it, so we'll see how it shakes out for them.
But there's one thing that the Rune goalie struggles against, and it's fast offense, as that pillar isn't even allowed to form the crossfire from Alter and striker Kai take it down in an instant, and NBS score the first goal here. Bloom's gonna have to figure out a way to set up ahead of time, or maybe Alex and Fiery are gonna need to slow down the offense here coming out from NBS.
Yeah, and in the midfield, you see Kai picked as sort of a counter matchup for Rune because of the ability to just send that core in and immediately stop the pillar from forming him. And so finding the barriers and goals for striker Kai is going to be really easy, even though they're the midfielder. And so even though normally it's a counter pick in the midfield, here it's a midfield to goalie pick. And I think it's still going to be really hard for Bloom. So we'll see what he's able to do with that pick. But a great angle from Average Alex finds the goal between the two defenders of NBS.
Definitely above average, warming up for his run in Rivals, perhaps, is Alex, who has built up quite a lot of meter as well after that goal. A good pillar by Bloom will deny away any barrier takes here, and a quick KO by Fiery, making good use of that Juliet as Alter's left alone for some offense perhaps. But on this map, a solo brawler can do a lot with the center, unable to find anything there as Fiery the one making solo plays on the other end. Bloom has to watch out for the Kai, but a banish will diffuse the situation for a little bit. But it's actually Alter midfielding quite a bit and really being a thorn in the side of PPL as they own barrier. The situation has turned and Bloom finds a clear for the moment. But again, Kai and Alter just rotating so quickly around the map.
Yeah, and you see a little bit of the same story of last map of Bloom own barriering, but then holding the open goal really well. And yeah, already you see the Dubu really struggling to hold against the Now and the Julie. Just so much pressure from those two, so many strikes that a Dubu's not able to handle. Wins the flip war here and gets it ahead to striker Alter, but they're still just not able to keep a consistent offense.
Oh, Bloom barely catching that core. The strike reset barely came back in time. And now it goes to Fiery, but stunned away by Evil to Danger. A good vanish on the core by Bloom. The hook will pull it out for a moment. Giga Blast, but a flip available for Bloom. Shooting it down to the bottom side, and Drew sending it to the other side of the world. And now Fiery looking for a dribbling play, but Drew has it in his hands. This time winning the strike war again is Evil to Danger. And Alter will fish it out with the pendulum swing and the strike. Somehow NBS survived the point so far, but once again they're on the back foot.
Yeah, and as we get to overtime, the 1-2 punch, it can help the Rune, but it can hurt right there. It just dribbles it and sends the demon angle into the corner. An own barrier on the second barrier from Bloom, and then an unfortunate own goal off that pillar with the 1-2 punch.
That's usually the perfect angle on the offense, but the core got onto the wrong side of the pillar and Bloom wasn't quite ready. Good defense so far by NBS. They'll have to have good defense, especially on this variant, where I think it'll be pretty easy for PPL to keep a consistent offense with the terrain, with the pillar lanes, and so far with the Now offense.
Yeah, and that trick of banishing the center here to be able to get the size denies it onto Rasmus, but Rune not able to make much use of it. But they find themselves now, NBS on the power play, gonna go for the double, but not quite get it. Striker Alter still looking, and Kai trying to support him, but they survive the power play with one of their barriers up.
Banish found once again onto the core in the center, and this time Fiery is massive. Big dash punch potential if they can get it up to the Juliet, but so far unsuccessful. But Fiery finds a better target. The Kai taken out. Striker Kai off the board for a little while longer, but the flip will easily be taken away by the log. Now the core speed's picking up in overtime. Unable to find a barrier, but a bit of an own barrier there after the flip. And NBS, a blunder of their own. The open net's going to be really hard to defend for them.
Yeah, especially with Bloom able to, if they strike the core twice at any point, it's just going to come rocketing past that Dubu, and that's how you get him. You hit it around. And so then the Now and Rune supporting the Julie, if they can get it to the Julie with the core speed and they're able to keep it up, that's just going to be a consistent way to score on this Dubu. But so far, Kai and Rasmus doing a good job of holding the core on this side and not putting that pressure on Dubu.
And the flip's also being held by the side of PPL as Fiery goes for a top shot, not quite getting it, and Drew was there to cover as well. Once again, the core goes around the world, but a pillar will interrupt its orbit for a moment. And now Bloom a bit strike shot-less, but just a flip will KO Alex. Not even a combo, just a raw KO for the power play and a point to tie it up.
Yeah, a lot of power plays coming out for PPL. Once again, the offense a little rusty. They're not able to convert them on the first try every time, but they're finding those KOs consistently. And on Goalie Rune, you see the banishes used in such a different way. You know, used sometimes to help on defense, just stop the play as it's happening, but also used to set up KOs. And finding different ways to make that happen is a really interesting part of watching the Rune goalie play.
Drew and Alter pushing up together, both with flips, but unsuccessful. Trying again, episode 2, but as the banish goes wide, but it's once again deflected, and Fiery wins the 1v1 versus Striker Kai. Alex pushing forward, a flip available on Fiery, a chance to close out this set as 2 flips still available now, and Fiery looking for the 1v3, not quite, but the pillar there will keep possession up, and it really is a game of possession at the end of the day. That is Omega Strikers, and NBS so far are not able to keep a consistent offense in this point. Bloom all the way forward, can't quite find the flip. A good Tofu Fortress by Evil Dude Danger as the core almost slips around, but the Dubu just massive enough, and now the offensive play deflected, the core flying across the map thanks to the now, and Bloom passing up once again to Fiery. A strike war will finally be what seals the deal as Fiery sends it in, and PPL once again find a set win.
Yeah, Evil Drew Danger and Striker Kai both struck at the same time, so Kai wasn't able to clear it away from the Julie. It came back down, and that time Fiery wasn't going to lose a strike war twice in a row. As we get into the draft here, the perfect form there, I think, going to be really strong for someone. I might expect it on the Rune, and you do see it for the Rune. That's going to be really strong. Twin Drive, I would expect to go to now here. Hasn't been picked yet, but that would also give a ton of influence in the midfield. Not the best Julie draft, but if you're comfortable with the dash range, that'll be strong. Some cooldowns for Drew Danger, but the now opts for the speed, and I think this is just cooldowns and speed will help you keep possession, and that's what PPL got here, so they have to be very happy with this draft.
And the speed's going to be relentless, and the chip damage will also increase a little bit as well coming out from Alex here. Fiery, you got to watch out in the scoring plays. Some goalies are really afraid of the long dash punch, and for good reason. The threat range of that Juliet increases by so much. Of course, a lot harder to pilot, but if you can pilot it, Fiery has piloted it, so we can see it right here. The punch in the corner. Fiery once again finding the goal for PPL, and unlike the shaky start there was in the previous set, I think PPL are well and truly comfortable now.
Yeah, just firing on all cylinders. Very clean converts on both of the barriers, and they found the goal pretty quickly. And yeah, with this last Awakening draft, the perfect form on Rune just makes it so hard. If you ever keep the pressure on him, he's just getting those cooldowns back so quickly to make it impossible for NBS to, you know, consistently get through those pillars.
This variant's especially brutal when you least expect it. When Fiery's almost on the midfield line, he could dash punch you and get your barrier. Goes for the KO this time, drifts right in and takes Striker Kai out as Fiery buys some space, splits the Red Sea. Evil Dude Danger and Alter can only watch as Alex flips it in. A 2-0 lead for PPL, and it's no longer looking like a close game.
Yeah, that was like the opposite of the caster curse. They did exactly what you were talking about, made you look smart. And Fiery, yeah, just has so much influence. All 3 of the characters for PPL just have so much influence over this game from far away. And it just makes it so hard for NBS to play. Constantly looking out for dash punch, for pillars, for now teleporting in. And yeah, they're just firing on all cylinders and looking really strong here. NBS is going to have to really change something to turn this around.
Yeah, the secret is, it's usually a caster blessing, you know? But that's not like a funny moment. All the memorable moments are when the caster curses, so people notice that one. But unfortunately for Bloom, a good pillar, actually not unfortunately at all, as Bloom has a perfect flip defense, even banishes Alter at the end of the day. And now Fiery in a 1v1 with Drew. Drew wins it with the Summer Assault, but that cooldown's gone, and Average Alex is dribbling on the top side, maintaining possession, almost finding the barrier, but a fantastic defense from NBS to keep that one alive.
Yeah, now maybe the character that's able to make the best use of anyone of that fighter flight just has so many strikes, but they fly a little too close to the sun, and Alex finds the flip in time. What a crazy point we had there, and PPL gets their second set.
A bit of insanity at the very end. NBS trying desperately to score on the open net, but PPL hold on, and now in this draft, I think PPL can seal the deal. What are your eyes on with this spread of Awakenings?
Yeah, Catalyst going first to deny the Ego Catalyst from Kai, which would have been really strong. But team player I might see on Rune here to help it. Yeah, just even more passing plays. Now you have speed, you have range of influence, you have KO potential, and now the adrenaline rush for PPL as well. Just going to be extremely strong. I mean, you're not too upset with the picks that you get on the side of NBS, but it just seems like you said, like PPL is able to, you know, confirm the win if they can play it right here with just such strong drafts all around.
They got a new win condition here as well, right? The adrenaline rush on Fiery. Such a big presence here. Fiery not quite getting the proc, but it's still a power play nonetheless. And that Now Mine actually really abusing the fact that Drew was evading there, and Drew overextending perhaps. Striker Kai has played goalie before, no stranger to dropping back to help out, and it's Drew who actually gets a power play for NBS now as Fiery's dash punch goes wide once again.
Yeah, and you'd love to see some of that, you know, Striker Kai and Drew Danger have been switching off, you know, when one of them has cooldowns up, they go play midfield and the other one goalies, but with a Dubu, you can just really get exposed if the play doesn't go right because of that slow speed coming back, even with momentum boots. Just they've been punished a few times, but here they made good use of it, and now they find themselves with PPL's goal open.
Had to find a little bit more our Alter and Striker Kai, but a good save by Alex. Very disciplined strikes, but Drew Danger, a rare miss on the other end. The barrier goes down for what seems like a little bit of too free of an offensive try. Average Alex dribbling on the top side yet again, and Flip built up, looking for an opportunity as the core goes around the world once more. Fiery in position, looking for a dash punch, looking for a setup as the bounces around the center are a little bit weird. So many flips to speak of as Fiery hits a creative angle, but it's not quite enough. It's saved away by NBS. A flip now available, a bounce pass. Average Alex to the other side, and Drew Danger is there to catch it. Alter, though, the one who is the biggest threat now with the meter available, trying to push forward a passing play. No, Striker Kai just sends it himself for a quick goal for NBS.
Yeah, perfect angle for Kai in between Bloom and the pillar that he placed down, so they're able to get that point. But you just see Average Alex with so much speed from the Super Surge, from the Fighter Flight, just able to control the midfield so well that it seems like NBS really struggles to consistently stay on offense, especially if Fiery's getting adrenaline rush procs like that. It's going to be really difficult for them to keep it on the other side.
Absolutely. As we see the push forward for the side of PPL, two barriers taken, the dash punch is good, and now the possession is starting to move up the field. The pillar, though, really, really well done by Striker Kai to have the counterplay, but here's the adrenaline rush. Here's the push forward. Fiery, though, staggered and chipped down very heavily, trying to find an opportunity, but the pillar will send it forward. But Fiery just so low. The staggered state making it so difficult to set up here. Trying to find an opportunity now with the flamethrower, but a good clear away by NBS. And now Bloom setting it forward once again. But the defense for NBS has been so good so far.
Yeah, consistently defending, but not able to keep it on offense, and they haven't been able to find this KO on Fiery, who it feels like has been staggered for all of the point, and the fact that they weren't able to get him out of the play means he dribbles it down, and with the 1-2 punch finds the corner.
Find the corner, find the goal. 2 goals away from shutting the door on this set, but still 2 goals left to be earned on this variant, though. A very volatile one. The Inky Splash Zone, a Flareon Test Chamber, some might say. 2 flips available, though, for PPL to try and somehow survive, but both their barriers are already down.
Yeah, and when you think about Rasmus being a strong pick on this map, it's especially on this variant, just able to make perfect use of the bouncy castle. And found both barriers and a goal there, and the fact that they rolled that might mean they're able to get a set and keep this game alive.
Yep. Fiery and Average Alex now pushing forward on the bottom side. This variant should favor them with the Juliet, with the Now, with the Rune being able to clog up those lanes completely, but it's actually a push in from Evil Drew Danger, but his teammate gets kidnapped by the Banish. And now Fiery is looking rather massive, looking for a dash punch opportunity, looking to cover space, finding one, looking for 2, but not quite as the defense comes in.
Yeah, Fiery continuing to push in. Bloom able to make the influence, and especially with the team player, they're just, as soon as it gets back, they're able to get it right back to Fiery, who finds another KO, another adrenaline rush proc, and as soon as they get the core to him with that core flip, unless it's whiffed, they'll be able to get the barrier, but great defense once again from NBS.
Barrage forward from Striker Kai, looking for an opportunity to the top side, but unable to find footing as Alter comes in, finding a dribble on the top side, looking for a little bit more, but unable to. Drew now blocking the lane on the top side, trying to find another opportunity is Alter as the core bounces to the bottom, but good clears by Bloom with the assist of the pillar, and they get it out of there for now.
Yeah, the creations really are strong on this map, and Rune and now are able to make great use of it, but Evil Drew Danger had a great ult there to keep on offense, but they still haven't been able to find the second barrier.
Fiery and Alex now, and now a massive Alex pushing forward, trying to find this barrier, but once again, the NBS defense comes through. Both barriers on both sides, both bottom barriers, I should say, are still standing, and that is a scary situation for the side of BPL, because it feels like they should have taken this barrier like 3 times over by now.
Yeah, they're able to clog up the lanes, especially defensively, but it's not helping them as much as you would think on offense. But the 1-2 punch Rune Pillar still not able to find that barrier, and both sides playing fantastic defense here, but it feels like PPL has had more chances, and they finally find it off the core, going a million miles an hour. And Fiery finds it, but now low on energy. They'll see what they can do as the energy advantage is on NBS, but they still cannot find this last barrier.
Alter now might have a 1v1, but the strike shot says no, and Bloom and Alex pushing forward. Fiery, massive, and Bloom covering the top side as Alex drops back to play a little bit of goalie. The core speed picking up once again, but this midfield is where the core is being caught, and finally the barrier taken. Alter in front of the net, a pillar available, a flip out from the side of PPL. They steal away the flip, but it's actually Alter who continues on the offense. A strike shot from Bloom saves the day, but once again it's a barrage from Striker Kai to the bottom side that extends this game and sends us to another draft.
What a crazy point, a long point where Evil Drew Danger played some incredible defense, and it earns him the MVP, which they might not have necessarily wanted, because now the Rasmus is going to fall a little bit more in the draft, and the Kai is going to be all the way at the end. But they do find that set, they keep the series alive, and they're going to have to deny the Knife's Edge to Julie, and it's going to have to go in the form of the first pick. But Rasmus getting the size is going to be really important. Both Rune is going to go for the Unstoppable to deny that onto the Kai, so they're able to get more consistent KOs and not eat the pillars to get them out of the way. But I think it's a little bit sad that the first pick of the draft had to go to a pure deny with the Knife's Edge, but neither team got anything too crazy in this draft, I think. So they're going to just have to keep playing the defense that they were to keep this alive, and PPL just has to go back to, you know, finding those consistent scores using the speed and creations like they were.
Yep, it's going to be no easy feat. At the very least, Striker Alter up to Striker Kai, looking for an early goal, and I think they've scaled enough to try and bring their way back into this game. Of course, they won the last set, but much more reliably now. They're getting the core forward, while Alex and Fiery seem to be falling a little bit behind. Of course, the core speed's always there, but the barrier takes aren't as efficient as they need to be, and they got so many tries in the previous set, but they might be getting a lot fewer in this one.
Yeah, and the underrated pickup that maybe we didn't talk about in the last draft is the double sparks with Spark of Focus for Evil Drew Danger. Just so many cooldowns, and that's helped him be able to play incredible defense on both the barriers and the open goal. But especially, you see that second barrier for NBS just stay up so consistently. Bloom with a great flip to keep this point alive, and now Fiery finds a KO, so they might be able to turn this one around.
Good evade by Striker Kai to not leave it up to any sort of uncertainty. Trying to stay alive here, trying to keep this point going. A bit of scary situation for Bloom, but still clearing the way as the core speed really picks up now with the team player. Alex pushing it forward, and Fiery getting the barrier as Drew rolls a little bit too far. Bottom side, Alter misses the strike. A huge gift in the favor of PPL off of that misplay. Now a flip available. Now a dash punch in, as Drew can't clear it out at a good enough angle. It's 1-0 in PPL. They'll take that point.
Yeah, some missed opportunities, like you said. NBS has to be a little bit sad about that one. And you see so many of these points going to overtime, which should really favor the team that has team player. And Bloom's making great use of it. They haven't been able to score as consistently as you might think. Sort of a similar story to the last map, like we said. But now Fiery applying some more KO pressure than we've seen in the past. And Bloom and Average Alex just able to push up and control those lanes with the creations. And they should, like we said, be favored on this variant.
They should be, but we'll see if that is indeed the case. Fiery, though, a good shot around, forcing Drew to panic a little bit, and both barriers are now down on the side of NBS. Average Alex with a flip available, although pretty low. Looking for a kill confirmed, but actually mistimes it, and Spooked Alter gets off scot-free. Alex, though, trying to make up for that, trying to score as the Pillar sends the core forward, but it's cleared away quite efficiently by NBS, who are looking very solid on the defense.
Yeah, both teams playing some good defense. This time for NBS, it's been in the open goal, but Bloom just holding on to that. And now as it hits overtime, you see that team player and 1-2 punch really going to make an effect, as Bloom just taking complete control, sending it as fast as he wants, wherever he wants to go. And Fiery looking for KOs in the corner, but now finding himself nearly staggered himself.
Oh, dangerous spot here for NBS. A flip available, but a good strike away by Striker Kai. Center wide open now as Alter goes in, but cleared away by Bloom for the moment. Dangerous spot still, but the Pillar disappears just in time in the favor of PPL. A dribble around by Average Alex, a vanish onto the center. But once again, PPL, they aren't quite finding their footing. But as I say that, from the midline, Fiery dash punches forward, and Drew did not see that coming from a million miles away.
Yeah, Fiery making fantastic use all game of the explosive entrance that he picked up in the first draft. Great use of the dash range, and there the 1-2 punch finds the core onto the top barrier immediately, and now they just need to find one more barrier, one more goal, and they can go home.
Yeah, they can make you available for the Grand Blue bracket, honestly. That's about to start in 15 minutes, so if it goes to another game, we might be in a little bit of trouble. But so far, that KO might spell trouble for the side of PPL. They lose a barrier off of it. The power play still ongoing, but the banish will relieve a little bit of pressure here as Alter is brought low as well.
Yeah, and we'll see if they're able to find the KO, but a bit of a miscommunication as the core goes past Alex and Bloom. But now Fiery gets the KO, almost gets another, and now with that adrenaline rush speed, this might be what they need to finish off this map. Goes ahead and gets the strike war, and now Bloom gonna send it ahead with the team player.
Oh, but playing a little impatiently right into Striker Kai, but that flip comes up a little bit late. KO'd by the Pillar after using the flip. Alter, though, gets it done. Pendulum swing forward, KOing the goalie who had full meter as well. A huge win for NBS to keep the game alive, but also swing the energy back into their favor just a little bit. Not fully, but a little bit.
Yeah, hero play for Alter there. Bloom just being a little bit too... I don't think he was trying to hold the flip, but he did it a little bit too late. But now Fiery with the adrenaline rush up, like you said, another win condition for them now. We'll see if they're able to convert this time.
Bottom barrier looking quite takeable here as they send it right through. They hit stun the log, and now the Pillar and the strike shot sends it forward. Fiery flip available, could end it here, but three members are too much to push it through. And right now it's Alter once again trying to be the hero, but barrier still standing for the side of PPL. The core sent forward. Fiery trying to use the dash punch again, but this time not clipping the core, but the pass through will the team player coming in handy as PPL take the series 2-0.
Yeah, like we talked about on both maps, the offense a little bit shaky, taking a little bit longer to score than you would have thought. But PPL really in control of the game the whole time. A strong 2 maps for them. NBS played some really good defense, but you just struggled to see the consistency of getting on offense, whereas PPL kept the ball on offense even if it took them a little bit too long to score. But a great showing there. You saw the Rune and the Now kind of playing a double goalie pick at times, and the other team also switching out their goalies both ways. So a really interesting game, but PPL just in control of the whole series.
Yep. That series went by at a reasonable pace. PPL looking like the top team, of course, 5-0 now, decisively at the top of the table, while NBS in a bit of a tough spot. There's so many teams in that 3-2, 2-2, 2-3-ish range right now, where it is so scary to fall down there. And although NBS played well, only time will tell who will make it into the playoffs, because right now it's all up in the air.
Yeah, similar story to Nassau, where just so many strong teams floating around 2-3, 3-2, and the next few weeks will do a lot to decide who makes it to playoffs.
Well, on that note, we will be right back because we have one more NASA series coming up. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll see you soon. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the North American Strikers Academy. I'm here with Sloth, and we're here to see Wochills versus Platinum Exclusive. Two teams at very opposite places in the standings right now, but it'll be a good game nonetheless, I think. So far, I think Wochills probably also going to continue playing how they've been playing. We're probably going to see a lot of damage coming out from them, but PLX, a pretty versatile team that's made it all the way up to 3-1 in the standings.
Yeah, most definitely. PLX, obviously, I feel like coming into this series as well as a little bit of a favorite, considering just score lines and performances so far. Now, that does not mean that Wochills has zero avenues to go through, right? You said they do play KO, and if they get the right circumstances, the right maps, if they're drafting for it correctly, right, they definitely can maybe overwhelm the side of PLX. But I feel like it's going to be an uphill battle for them today against one of the stronger teams inside of NASA.
Yeah, and a bit of visual bug on our screen. Although it would be funny to pick and then immediately ban AtLab to make it so that there's only 2 games in the best of 3. It's a visual bug. The second AtLab pick ban, whatever, is Night Market, so that's off the table. And AtLab was indeed picked, as expected, right? From a team like Wochills, damage team. They're probably going to AtLab.
Yeah, most definitely, right? AtLab, just due to its gimmick already allowing for so many KO avenues. So if you're already looking to play for that as your win con, obviously a very blessed map for you to be going for. I do feel like, though, more importantly, game one, the side from PLX has picked Gates. I'm not quite sure how well a KO comp will be able to be executed on Gates. I feel like that's going to be pretty Awakening dependent. So we will wait and see how that's going to be playing out. It could just be that we're going to go into Gates and it might be a bit PLX favored, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yep. We will see what happens here. I'm not sure. I think they might have misfired on the pick ban. I think one team might not have been ready. Okay, so PLX wasn't ready, but apparently they're looking to keep going with it. So that no ban is apparently Luna. Wow, okay. This series is shaping up to be a massive skill issue in terms of the pick ban in both the maps and the characters. But to anyone watching this from the future, that was a Luna ban. As expected, ZCZ a bit of a menace on the Luna, so pretty understandable.
Yeah, and I feel like Luna, with this map like Gates, right, there are some avenues where you can play for a lot of dash plays through those portals, so just not even wanting to deal with that, just taking it out. The rest of the draft, though, I feel like pretty more or less standardized picks for those maps to some degree, right? The Amy, I definitely see often. The Kai, the Rasmus as well. We do see a Rune, which is also quite strong on a map like Gates. The Finny has a finisher. I'm not quite sure how often you do see that, but it has its place, especially if you are Wochills, if you are trying to play a little bit more kill-oriented. The Finny obviously does a lot of great work for you. PLX then answering that with an Atlas of their own, probably countermeasuring that KO threat of that Finny Amy a bit, while also being a very solid defensive goalie, right? On a map like Gates, you do value someone that can just lock down that corner and those barriers as strongly as an Atlas can.
Yeah, that's definitely something that will be very valuable for PLX here. On the other end, Wochills, they have an absolutely chilling composition. What is this? Finny, Rune, Aimee. Like, of course, they have plenty of damage, right? But, like, how are the puzzle pieces fitting together with this one?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of everyone has their own job. That's the best way I could think about it, right? Finny is just gonna output all of the damage. She's just gonna be ever present with her cooldowns that are as low as they are. Amy's gonna be that connecting piece, while Rune's gonna be the controller. I feel like it's gonna be the most likely result situation. But then again, everyone can kind of do everything on that team as well. Finny can be more heavily in the control side by using her abilities primarily to control the core. Rune can also be a damaging pick depending on Awakenings, right? If you have something like a Monumentalist or something go his way, he can start to solo kill people with a Banish Double Barrier as well. Or he could just be the kill confirm kind of pick as well for the side of Wochills, as, again, the Banish into into a pillar is quite a lethal hit if someone is staggered.
Yeah, definitely something that can be a win condition here. Hopefully the players are ready pretty soon. Not sure if that is indeed the case. Still waiting on these teams. Will Hamster Quest arrive in the lobby? I have no clue, and I've just realized that we have two very conflicting concepts in this Awakening draft, right? In the starting Awakenings, peak performance, the greatest survivability Awakening in the pool right now, pretty much, and Adrenaline Rush, something that Low Chills will probably enjoy quite a bit.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I feel like I'm expecting at least 2, if not 3 adrenaline rushes, right? Because if you find those KOs, it's gonna help you so much. You're just gonna not only play in a power play situation, you get that extra speed boost to just completely overwhelm the enemy side. And then also, not to mention, it is not a lot, right? But that 1 second off of your abilities for a character like Finny does actually quite a bit. If your cooldowns are already really low to begin with, that 1 extra second can already like be quite the difference maker. The question is just, is it gonna be? Are they gonna have enough damage to go through that extra base stagger that basically the entirety of PLX is going to be having? And also considering Awakenings are going to be coming into play for later on as well, a Spark of Resilience could just completely ruin their game plan.
Yeah, I've been caught in Discord general, looking at chat instead of paying attention. But Hamster Quest still isn't here. Hamster Quest has not arrived in. Okay, well, I trust that he will arrive in the lobby before too long. But still waiting on the midfielder of Woe Chills to arrive so we can start. Hello, Hamster Quest.
Yep.
Hello.
I do like seeing that amount of team synergy though, if you think about it, right? If you're that comfortable with your team that you can start drafting without your player being here, that's some trust and knowledge in their teammates, or a very rude awakening for Hamster Quest once he comes back when he realizes he's on a pick that he maybe doesn't want to be playing.
Yeah. Any updates on the status? Nope, no updates on the status of Hamster Quest. So Cakes and ZZ just sitting in the lobby, waiting patiently for Mr. Quest to appear. Let's take a look at the predictions. 85% PLX, 15% Woe Chills, and not too surprised, of course. It is a 3-1 team versus a 0-4 team. But if there's ever a 0-4 team that could get it done, it's Woe Chills, because if they win one set, if they get a good draft and they start acing over and over, they can beat anyone. But that's not very likely. But they could beat anyone.
They can definitely beat anyone because you need to have that mindset. But for that to start, you need 3 players, and that's the thing that they're currently battling with. So it's not really a great series start to their series. Hopefully, they can get a good get the ball rolling once everything is ready. But they do have avenues, right? And as you said earlier, if they're preferring kill comps, it's an extremely snowbally type of play style. Either you find the kill comps and you just completely take over the game, or you don't find them and you're just slowly but surely losing every single interaction that you're going into.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult in that case. We'll have to see what happens here, as I have no clue what's going on. No clue how we're going to get this going. Wow. Well, we'll just have to wait until Hamster Quest magically appears, because even his own team might not know where exactly he is at the moment, which is a little bit crazy, but he will appear sometime.
A great mystery of Hamster Quest's whereabouts. Yeah, but I think either way, right? If you're just looking at the team comps that have been drafted, right? Who do you feel like is going to be the most vulnerable on the side of PLX, right? If you have a kill coming in from Woe Chills, obviously they're going to have someone that they're needing to be targeting. Do you feel like it's just going to be the clear-cut answer of the Kai that's going to be having a rough time staying relevant per se, as not to get damaged up by Finny or Amy? Or do you see a different avenue?
I think I think it really comes down to which target Wochills decides to pick, because if they pick a target, they could definitely focus down someone. Do you think the Kai would be the best target to focus down? Usually it is the midfielders who take the brunt of the damage from damage comps, but looking at this matchup here, it might be the Rasmus that might be a target that might be more important, because the self-sufficient brawler might be able to score despite the striker deficit if all the cooldowns are burned by Wochills.
Yeah, most definitely. I personally would be leaning towards Kai mainly just because he has pretty low stagger, right? He's gonna be a very squishy character even with that peak performance pickup compared to the Rasmus and the Atlas. But it's also very true, right? The Rasmus is a great all-around pick. He can play in that striker deficit. He can score on his own, given the right circumstances. So it's going to be a bit tricky. It might actually just end up being situational. Who's going to get that Finny debuff? Who can they run down? And even if they do find the KO, right, it's not a guarantee. You still have an Atlas in net, likely in net, that's going to be able to pop down that ultimate and keep his forwards alive if need to be. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see how Wochills is going to be approaching this type of KO comp. If they're even trying to play KO, keep in mind they do have 3 picks that all can kind of flex into a control playstyle as well. So in theory, they could try to out-control the side of PLX. The question is it more going to be a pick of, are they actually going to, like, are they actually going to be trying to do that, or are they going to try to KO cope their way through this case game?
Yeah, that's a good question, but if it's Wochills, they're probably gonna KO. You know, that's the one truth. That's the one constant in Omega Strikers. As wow. This first game is still not going.
I do wonder if for this matchup specifically, it could also turn out to be a game that gets decided in a set one. Mainly just thinking about the fact that there are a lot of high value awakenings just overall, right? Any size for Rasmus, so much value. Any kind of extra speed up for Kai completely changes the impact that pick has. On the other hand, Wochills is looking at Deadeyes and missile props for the Finny. Any kind of extra pillar strength for the rune is obviously going to be a great asset for him as well. Amy looking at timeless and extra special. There's so many like almost game defining awakenings that could be coming into the series that I feel like that base first set is going to be quite a deciding point of time within the set or within this game already. It's mainly going to be interesting to see how that first set is going to be playing out, where I do feel like the side of PLX will have the slight advantage just because of their base kit being a bit better and more all around consistent compared to the side of Wochills.
Well, waiting a little more for Ham's request. We might be approaching DQ territory, unfortunately, because this is quite the delay. Apparently, Ham's request is on his 3rd PC right now, so there have been some severe technical issues. And maybe eventually we'll be able to play one game, but wow, this is a very unfortunate circumstance we're having right now.
Yeah, I am just vividly imagining the scenario of like booting up your first PC, it's not working, trying to get a second PC up and running if it's a laptop or something, and that one also doesn't work. At that point, you need some sort of mental fortitude to find a third PC, which hats off you even have in the first place, to then play that your series in NASA. But I mean, we've already prefaced it very early on in our chatting kind of section. That this is I feel like a pretty important game for the side of Wochills, right? They have started the season 04, so they are looking very much for their first win. Are they going to be able to find it against PLX? Who knows? Might be a bit of a tall ask, but it's definitely in the realm of possibilities. And getting a win here would obviously do wonders for their playoff chances.
Yeah, it looks like many, many minutes late, approximately 20 or so, we are finally getting started. And I can't wait to see this comp that we've been forced to talk about for 20 minutes straight in action.
Let's just hope that at this point the comp is gonna last longer than our discussion. Because it would be quite an interesting ordeal if we're gonna load in and it's just gonna be PLX all around. I can still very much see that world though, if I'm being honest. Again, they have a little bit more of an all-around comp, a more consistent comp to be dealing with than the side of World Shells. So it's gonna be definitely an important first set to be playing through.
Gates Obscura, we're finally here. And we are seeing this crazy comp coming out as ZZZ is the one on the rune here. I've seen him played a few times. Cakes, though, not too commonly on the Fini, but I think most people can play the Fini goalie. It is pretty straightforward. You point your mouse at things and your primary comes out and you strike after the primary and you manage to defend and all of that. So, it's really up to WoChills to try and make this one interesting if they could find some crazy KOs, find some synergy in the damage.
Yeah, they do have to find that. They're also, surprisingly enough, not triple adrenaline rushing. Cakes has opted to go peak performance here, so still holding on to that little bit of stagger, but as expected, ZZ and HamsterQuest both playing that adrenaline rush, looking for those KOs, looking to play off of that snowball that they can find.
Yeah. These early sets are going to be quite rough for WoChills, though. They are a little bit lacking in terms of the damage department until they can scale up a little bit. And, of course, the immediate stagger on the side of PLX is going to make it so much more difficult. But all barriers are down, both on each side, which means that WoChills have a very good chance at figuring something out here, especially with the evade save there. The Rune Pillar almost backfires and sets up perfectly for Josh, who sends it in for the first goal.
I feel like that's quite an unfortunate Amy turret there. Made it a bit more difficult to find that diagonal clear up because the turret was going to hit it down directly into Josh again. But overall, unfortunate setup, but it still works. HamsterQuest a little bit late on the kickoff start, but we're back live playing.
Yeah, once again, it is the early offense coming out for PLX here. Trying to find a bounce on the other end are WoChills, but they're ultimately unsuccessful in the early offense, finding a good pillar for one barrier, but ZZ the one taking a lot of chip damage. Actually, good follow-up by HamsterQuest though, and once again both barriers are down on both sides.
Both barriers are down. We're in an open net situation for both of them, but Miramek has a flip in front of the net. Are they going to be able to use it? No, they'd rather just take out ZZZ, who's hugging corner a little bit too closely there. Flip comes out, Cakes shoots the Fini primary in the wrong direction, and it just goes into the corner of the net. Well
played by Miramek there. A pretty long-range flip, but perfectly placed to get into the corner. Miramek getting the first barrier pretty quickly here. Pulls it back, but not quite able to find the second. But Josh has plenty of meter available. A flip available now as the big finish only helps the side of PLX maintain possession, unfortunately. And this early into the game, again, the damage not really coming through for WoChills.
Yeah, they can't really be finding them because everyone already has an extra 350 base stagger, and you don't really have any awakenings to enable any further. So it's definitely not an easy task to be looking for KOs here, but they did get Josh pretty low, but while Josh is hanging on to life, Miramek just takes a second barrier.
Two barriers down now, and this flip trying to find one good angle by HamsterQuest to barely get it onto the bottom, and ZZZ now pushing forward trying to make use of this damage, but the Atlas is doing so much work healing up Josh, and of course the barrier eventually goes down, but once again PLX with the possession.
And I feel like that's overall kind of the theme of what's been happening so far. PLX, yes, they have lost barriers over a few times at this point, but the core is to like 80% of the time inside of WoChills' half, and that just makes it so difficult for them to play, as they're not really an expertise in their team comp for that control, right? They're wanting to look for the KO, but they're not going to be able to find it anytime soon, as a glitch pop unfortunately pops a bit early and sends the core into the net of Cakes. First set goes in favor of PLX, 3-0.
3-0 as Miramek gets MVP here. Can pick up some speed, can pick up some size. Trying to really end this game quickly if you're the side of PLX, right? Not even trying to give Wochills any chance to scale here. But Deadeye might be what they need. Deadeye, Twin Drive, 1-2 Punch all on the board here. And if 1-2 Punch falls all the way down, that's going to be pretty good for ZZZ. And it does. Goes for the Prize Fighter instead, though. And maybe these Awakenings will be enough for the side of Wochills. But it's going to be difficult.
It's going to be very difficult, especially because the side of PLX also picked up high-value Awakenings, right? Even more mobility, more movement speed for the side of Josh and Miramag, and that team player is not to be underestimated from Vaga as well. They're just going to be even more oppressive on that control area now, as they were even more. They were already before.
Might be seeing the start of something here for Wochills, though. They got a lot of chip damage, but they're going to need way more than just that to really burn through all of the stagger on the side of PLX. But core control-wise, they're doing fine. They're distracting with the damage and finding the barriers.
Not only finding the barrier, they're also finding the goal as the core sneaks past Josh and Vaga there. Really nice angle to be found from ZZZ, and a lot of assistance from Hamster Quest and Cakes there just by using abilities and being even more oppressive, making it very difficult to defend that play.
Hamster Quest standing still for a moment, but the barriers both saved right now by Wochills. The barrier is still standing, means that Miramag needs to find both here. Finds one, looking for another. Triple take stops it for a moment, but the energy dump will be enough.
It will be enough. The barrier is now down. Cakes does have a flip to use defensively if he wishes to do that, but holding on to it for now. Maybe trying to find a cheeky angle here. Nice setup from Hamstercrest. Almost takes the barrier, but Vaga calm and collected, holding on to it. Flip coming out from Hamsterquest now, trying to find an angle, but the bounce not quite being what they are wanting. As Miramag finds a KO, and Cakes, with an unfortunate Finny ultimate release, shoots it into his own net.
Trying to find even more now. R2 flips of PLX, while Cakes is the only one with a flip. Probably going to be used defensively here. But if Josh and Miramag can push up fast enough, they could probably force a panic flip burn. Right now, though, it's all ZZZ finding a banish, finding a pillar. So much damage onto Josh, but they can't secure the KO. They don't quite have enough damage across the entire team right now.
And that's where that peak performance just really comes into play. 2 times there, Josh was about to get staggered and would have been staggered if peak performance wasn't in his Awakenings. So you can already see that extra little bit of difference that comes into this game just by having that stagger Awakening be a starting Awakening as well.
As we see once again, the Firewall Sentry pushing the core forwards. ZZZ trying to find an opportunity on the bottom end here. Flip available. Josh pushing forward. And ZZ with a lot of meter built up. Now it's the big finish to the other side. Across the portal, but right into Miramag's hands as the barrier is earned. Setting up, looking for the goal. Finding the KOs. The KO comp couldn't quite maintain core control, and they take so much chip damage that they're the ones getting KO'd. And ZZZ barely misses. A bit of a MOBA moment there.
ZZZ trying to go for a little bit of extra control there, sadly misaiming, shooting into his own net. That is a rather comedic moment, but that's part of it, right? Other than that, though, I do feel like Wochills, again, fighting an uphill battle here as they have almost no energy to their names. Neither does PLX, but PLX does a bit more better on that core control front. A huge banish, though, taking both forwards out of the play for a second there. As again, HP bars are dropping slowly, but they're not dropping fast enough, as the side of PLX is just continuously regenning the HP that they're losing. And ZZZ also needs to be a bit careful as PLX finds avenues to maybe even take him out.
Definitely ZZ low without an evade to his name, and Miramag and Josh is playing the corner so efficiently. Both barriers down already, looking to end this set as fast as possible as Josh and Miramag pass back and forth through the portals. Josh pushing forward, but a glitch pop will send him away for the moment. Double pillar now, but Miramag doesn't take enough damage to really threaten the Rasmus, and as the core goes around the world, all it takes is one good ability, one good hook from Miramag to end this set. Pushing forward now, but unable to do so far, but a perfect pass from Josh across the entire map will secure the goal.
Yeah, Hamstercrest not quite in position to catch that pass, and the goal going in. Second set now in favor of PLX, and that's not the only thing in favor of them, as Miramag is sitting at level 7, Josh is sitting at level 6, and the highest level on the side of Wochills is Cakes on level 5.
not in a good spot are Woe Chills as another draft comes in, but this draft doesn't have the sheer damage that they need to try and take over this game, right? Of course, you get more cooldowns, but the damage pressure isn't quite there.
The damage pressure isn't big enough. You do have some extra damage from the build difference, from the Super Surge, but it's not really going to make the difference, especially considering that Josh was able to pick up a Catalyst, a great tool to generate even more evades to deal with that damage comp. And Myrmec with that Knife's Edge, gaining even more movement speed with Fighter Flight, Peak Performance, and Knife's Edge. He's going to be able to basically zoom across the entire field already. Damage dump into Josh, though, seeming to be quite effective as of right now.
Yep. Oh, but Myrmec so quickly in the point, advancing forward and finding the goal versus what it felt like two separate people in the corner. And 2 goals are left for PLX to finish off this game. At the start of the game, it was a good concept, but I think the peak performance start was too much of an obstacle for Woe Chills.
It is too big. It allowed for too much control from the side of PLX. And even then, the KO comp needs some time to scale, and even without a peak performance start, I feel like PLX has just been handling themselves so well that they would have not really given the time for PLX for Woe Chills to get those KO comps running. As Myrmec sets himself up beautifully with a pendulum swing and just takes a clean goal. They're now 1 away from taking game 1.
1 goal away from closing it out here. Unable to really finish it here, but Myrmec on the bottom side, Cakes on the top side, trying to find a little bit of presence here. And a flip available for ZZ, almost for Cakes and Hamster, but not quite. ZZ now trying to send it forward. Not available, but a dunk from the Giga Blast will create another power play for PLX. They've had so many of those, and maybe the first KO. Myrmec taken out. The Adrenaline Rush procs. Woe Chills maybe coming online now, but the pillars don't cover the barrier.
The pillars haven't covered the barrier, but there's still a power play for the side of Woe Chills. They need to find both of these barriers here, otherwise it's going to be close to over as Myrmec comes back. Josh perfectly controlling the core. The finish coming out from Finny, but sending it the wrong way again as Josh expertly held that core on the half of Woe Chills. And the core goes in game 1, goes to PLX, and what a convincing performance for this first game from PLX.
Very, very convincing. Very, very one-sided here with how well it was played by PLX here. It's tough if you're Woe Chills really trying to play your game, but unfortunately the starting awakenings, although Adrenaline Rush looked nice, it was not as friendly as the Adrenaline Rush implied. The peak performance, again, too big of an obstacle.
Yeah, most definitely. You can see that in the stats as well, right? Woe Chills was able to find just 1 kill when they were playing a team comp that would be wanting to find more, would be wanting to find those KOs to play off of advantages. And if, like I mentioned before, if you don't find those advantages through KOs, you're just going to be overrun by the control of the side of PLX.
That definitely will be the case as we move on to another map here. Moving on to AtLab, where maybe it will work out for the side of Woe Chills a little bit more, depending on the starting awakenings. But we'll see in just a second.
You do hope those awakenings are going to be so crucial, because it's also, AtLab is just naturally so damage heavy, right? So the best that the side of Woe Chills are looking for is stuff like a Deadeye start, like a Super Surge start, something that can just really snowball the game. What they really don't want to see is something like a Stagger Swagger.
Yeah, okay, so apparently there's a technical bug. It generated with the same awakenings, which really surprised me, but well, we're gonna regenerate and see what happens. Well, hopefully that doesn't take too long. This time for sure. Awakenings. Okay, it is very different this time. Deadeye and Team Player. This is a lot more friendly for Woe Chills, isn't it?
This is really good for Woe Chills, I would say. Deadeye enables so many KO midfielder and goalie picks, and Team Player could be a bit of a difficulty because it accelerates gameplay so much that maybe as a KO comp you're going to be struggling to deal with the amount of speed that the enemy side can bring onto the board. But either way, if you have a Deadeye, again, if the KO comp is executed well enough, you can just kind of ignore that speed because, again, you're just taking out the enemy. It doesn't matter if they can shoot the core fast if they're not going to be on the map.
Yeah, that's always the concern here. Luna immediately taken away. They don't want ZZZ on that powerful pick. But with Deadeye start, there's still a lot of powerful picks, right? The Aimi, the Fini, so many other damage characters that can make good use of it. Perhaps even the Vice coming out. Whoa, Chills, though. I don't know what they're going to deny here. They deny away the Asher, but I'm not sure what exactly they're going to go for because it's not too straightforward picking a pure damage comp.
Yeah, you do need to find stuff that synergizes well together, right? If you do go damage, you don't necessarily want too many finishers or too many damage dumpers. You want a healthy mix between them. The ban from Asher does kind of make sense though, right? Because if you're going for a damage comp, your goalie is likely not to be the most defensive option. So having to deal with something like the Asher to defend against is not going to be quite an easy thing. And even on the other end of the field, if you're having to score on an Asher goalie, Asher's not that easy to kill. And KO characters generally don't have the most solid of force through a character. They just do well at hitting them often. As the picks do go through, though, PLX picks up that Estelle. Really solid pickup. Also quite a damage menace together with that Deadeye start. And Mako Rune being picked from the side of Woe Chills here.
Yeah, Whoa, Chills. That's probably a Mako forward for... Is that a Mako forward? Because I think Cakes would be inclined to play the Juno goalie here.
Yeah, I would. I can see it. Together with the Deadeye, you might have a decent amount of just damage output from the Mako. I'm not quite sure how well it's going to be doing on a map like AtLab, but considering the fact that Cakes is quite the Juno enjoyer, I would also be inclined to believe that the Juno is going to go into net and you have the Mako in forward. Well, it's left to be seen how well that's going to be translating into their game plan here. She definitely does have a decent amount of kill confirmed, though, if she uses her abilities correctly.
Yep. As we head on into the draft here, PLX versus Whoa Chills. PLX looking to make this a clean 2-0 and advance to 4-1 in the standings, which would put them in a pretty comfortable spot and really separate them from the pack. Whoa Chills, on the other hand, still hunting for the first win, trying to play that damage style yet again. And apparently Hamster Quest game crashed. Well,
unfortunate. Hamster Quest being able to pull out that third computer to play on, probably running on an Intel 3 or something, doing his best to keep up. Either way, though, I do want to point out something interesting, which is the side of PLX, together with that Amy Estelle, actually do have quite a good KO comp to themselves, right? They don't necessarily have a brawler to finish off the KOs, but the pure damage output from an Amy and an Estelle is not to be underestimated. And that extra range is also going to help them just to pick off people off of the side if they're maybe overconfidently positioning themselves somewhere. So I do feel like the side of Woe Chills still needs to be a bit careful as to not be picked off by surprise and have another thing happen like it did in Game 1, where suddenly they're the team that KOs less, even though they are trying to play for that KO win comp.
Yeah, absolutely. That is something that they always need to be concerned about as we head into game once again. Hopefully this time with no random technical issues, so we can go through with this. Right? Please.
Yeah. Oh, you just gotta believe. Stay optimistic, and it's gonna be fine.
Okay. Well, at lab time, this is definitely going to be a much more fun match with the Deadeye, though. I do expect a little bit more joy and happiness from Woe Chills, but that still remains to be seen. We will still have to see what the result ends up being. I wonder who's playing that rune. It could be ZZ like last game. It could definitely be Hamster Quest as well.
Yeah, I would be inclined to believe that it's going to be ZZZ as he's already kind of warmed up on it, right? But they could be flexed around. I'm not quite sure who of the two is going to be more proficient on a Mako forward pick. But we will find that out any second as we're now loading in. It is actually a Mako in net, so Hamster Quest on the Juno and ZZZ on the Rune. So not quite what we initially thought. Mako in net is I feel like what should be the case, but still quite a surprise considering it's Woe Chills.
Yeah, Hamster Quest has played the Juno quite a bit, but like again, considering it's Woe Chills, we expected something a little bit crazier. Pretty normal composition, and already a KO found onto ZZZ. They could be the ones getting KO'd very easily because all three characters on the side of PLX pretty good at dealing all that chip damage, and Hamster Quest though soloing the barriers, trying to find a goal on the other end, but Josh and Merrimack consistently moving up the field. It's a bit of a double midfield matchup here.
Yeah, and that's gonna really be the difficulty. There is gonna be taking the barriers, as both Cakes and Vaga are on ultra defensive goalies, right? And the best counter to ultra defensive goalies is something like a hard forward that just shoves it through them. Now both of them kind of running a double midfield, playing off of punishes essentially, is going to be the interesting way to see how they're going to be interacting with each other as a power play has started for the side of Woe Chills.
Passing plays up and down, but a good catch by Josh forces out the empowered strike from Cakes as Hamster Quest flip available, but that cyber swipe is really good. Josh though taking a huge chunk, but the firewall sentry keeping the core contained. Josh still staying alive somehow, and with the flip available, not being KO'd by ZZ just yet, as Vaga makes the save without burning the flip. Flip to the top side, last second flip by Vaga to save it away, but the slimes are scary, and the slimes space perfectly around the flip. A tiny bit of delay means that Josh is energyless and Woe Chills have a goal.
Yeah, Hamster Quest is really showing that overtime Juno presence, just being able to make use of the blobs almost perfectly to get that goal going, and that's a momentum swing that is really going to go into their favor. You do see a lot of damage output from both sides though. ZZZ again struggling to stay alive by just having to deal with that Estelle Amy continuously.
And both barriers down now. Cakes forced to burn a ton of meter here. Merrimack and Josh pushing up the field slowly, and Josh taking chip as well. Passed down, but unable to find it, and this damage pressure finally coming through for Woe Chills, especially if they could find a second barrier here, but Josh still stays alive. Oh, that pillar set up perfectly. Baited to walk into it, and the revive isn't in time, so it's a power play for Woe Chills.
Power play is in, but Vaga doing a really good job holding down the defensive end. Merrimack needs to be a bit careful as to not to get taken out himself. Down to 100 HP, a great banish onto Josh, takes half of his HP bar out, as Woe Chills is just looking to get another power play going with that damage output. The friend fling Sally going wide there to not get the KO on Merrimack, but the core's bouncing around. Merrimack again holding on to dear life, as abilities continuously get used, and the ability isn't even what kills him, it's the Atlas Lab Black Hole, the map gimmick being the most lethal of them all.
Core speed picking up here in the team player overtime, and Deadeye as well playing a part in accelerating the puck. So much core speed though. Cakes got to be careful as the passing plays come through to Merrimack to the top side. A great shot, and it's tied up 1-1.
Yeah, Merrimack finding the ankle breaker on Cakes there. Mako not necessarily known for the wide range of defensive capabilities, so being able to find that hole there is definitely going to be very beneficial to them. As core strikes and strikes overall get traded around, the barrier now also gets traded for both sides. ZZ looking to put some good damage onto Vaga, but it doesn't really matter if the goalie is low if you lose both of your barriers, as a nice attack takes him out.
That's a quick barrier take for the favor of PLX, but a burn flip will be a little bit dangerous. Josh building up a flip of his own, trying to make something happen as ZZC barely unable to catch the core in the corner. Cakes forced to flip against Merrimack, clears it away for a moment, but Josh pushes forward, hit stuns with the flip, and secures yet another goal for PLX.
Another goal and one goal away from taking the first set, and again in a game like this where both teams are looking to KO, that first Awakening draft is going to hold so much value. So for the side of Woe Chills, you need to find this goal now as fast as possible. As the sentry turret comes out, doesn't really find a barrier though. And they are now trying to get an attack going. Miramac finds a beautiful cyber swipe though to get that KO going. Josh is down to stagger as well, so they can't necessarily take full advantage of this power play, but it's power play nevertheless.
Probably nevertheless, 2 barriers down. ZZZ rushing forward to try and get some barriers back, but only able to secure 1 as Miramac plays the corner. Looks for a dribble. Stolen away by Hamster Quest for the moment as ZZZ flip available. But will he be able to use it before this point is scored? Used it in the bottom corner, deflected away by the Expanse, and Miramac pushing forward with the Firewall Sentry, unable to secure the goal as ZZZ still patrolling but taken out by the Glitch Pop.
Yeah, the damage just really being pumped out from the side of PLX here. Flip coming out as well. Cakes with a beautiful strike shot almost holds on to that goal, but sadly the angle wasn't quite right. As the first set goes in favor of PLX, and there's bound to be quite a few valuable awakenings here. Let's see what is going to be dropping. You do have a Timeless Creator, you have an Explosive Entrance, and an Extra Special. All of them quite important awakenings. Extra Special, definitely something that Miramac is going to be very happy with as a pickup.
Yeah, very, very dominant awakening for the IME. So much round start presence for that character, for the kickoff, for the immediate offense, which is really what a PLX have been thriving off of, right? Just immediately putting pressure on, getting a barrier very quickly and converting that into some more. And the other awakening is pretty inconsequential, I believe. So it really is up to that extra special to have the immediate impact.
Yeah, I feel like the other important pickup that we did see, though, is the Spark of Strength from ZZZ, and it's mainly just an important pickup as a mental note for the side of PLX, because if this game goes longer and ZZZ is able to pick up even more Awakenings, potentially even more Sparks, that Spark of Strength is definitely going to come into play for their KO competency, so we'll see if that's going to be the difference maker or not, but a barrier is already dropped on the side of Wochills now.
Vaga in the corner against the Slime, but the Slime wins. Hamster Quest with a well-timed strike to manually Slime in the corner. ZZ now pushing forward as well. The Expanse though will fend away the offense for just a bit as the Banish comes out. A lot of damage put onto Josh as Hamster Quest is winning strike wars in the midfield. Unable to really finish the deal here though as a flip comes out. ZZ deflects in the midfield. Vaga to the bottom side and Josh pushing forward as well, flip available, but unable to secure it as Hamster Quest brought incredibly low, but not taken out just yet as overtime ticks and this Juno just got a lot more dangerous.
Juno's so much more dangerous, but being taken care of pretty well right now, just putting him down into stagger continuously. Miramac also getting staggered down though. Cakes holding a little bit more of an offensive line as a beautiful piercing shot from Josh takes out Hamster Quest, and that's going to be a much relieved situation, much more easier situation for the side of PLX as they find the goal here as well in that power play.
Looking quite efficient, passing back and forth, and that is what you really want to see when PLX is on the screen, right? They have been experts at core control so far, especially with the double midfield. They've been finding good ways to score around Cakes, and they're putting a lot of chip damage onto ZZ as well, really focusing the Rune and forcing ZZ to retreat to the other side.
Yeah, that Deadeye value just really showing itself on characters like that Amy and that Estelle. And again, they're coordinated so well as well with those passes. Now Hamster Quest with the Juno oppressive gameplay though. All these bubbles coming out, overwhelming the defensive end of PLX. Miramac now down to being staggered. Does have 3 evades through his name though if he doesn't need them. And the Atlas ultimate coming out as well. Hamster Quest being open for that pass, almost finding a goal, but a well defended from the side of PLX. Sentry turret coming into play now as well. Not quite able to find the barrier. The Hamster Quest down to 100 HP. Cakes still has flip. Is he going to be using it for the defensive end here? No, not quite yet. Miramac does flip on his own though. Doesn't get the barrier just yet. Again, really well defended from Cakes, holding on to this point. And ZZ in the corner with a very nice pillar pushes it right past Vaga to find the first goal of the set.
Big goal for the side of Wochills and trying to figure out something here. But it is still such a difficult spot for them to be in. Vaga and Josh are looking good, but a triple banish, a barrier take, but the top barrier hasn't fallen yet. A good slime by Hamster Quest will secure it, but it's still so dangerous as CCZ finds another KO. The damage is really coming through here. The triple banish was so good for Wochills as now the passing plays start up and Wochills have a lead in the set.
Cakes with that primary catching the side of PLX a little bit off guard as it sent the court a little bit more sideways as they expected. Now they're 1 point away from winning the set, and obviously the set's all going to hold a lot of value to them. Looking at the XP bars as well, I do believe Hamster Quest will be looking at a first pick there, which holds so many strong awakenings for Juno as well. But for that, they need to be able to find this win of the set first, as they both are down one barrier. Cakes does have a flip to his name though.
Cyberswipe goes a little bit wide, but Mirrormeg gets the strike afterwards, and with the barriers falling, it is the side of WoChills that is once again in a lot of trouble. Dribble up, Firewall Sentry keeping possession as Vaga tries to creatively play around the rune. Josh sends it forward, but ZZ maintains control. Strike shot goes wide. Josh trying to line up a snipe here, trying to find a dribble, trying to find a little bit more as a flip available for Mirrormeg, but blocked away by the pillar. Blink in. Josh on the second try, not quite enough. It's defended by WoChills.
WoChills doing a really good job to hold on to this point now. A lot of abilities have been used for PLX there, trying to get this core in, so they need to take advantage of that now. Trying to get an attack going on their own. Mirrormeg is getting rather low, but they can't really focus too much on taking him out there. A black hole respawn though, just being what they need as the core just snipes its way past Cakes' defense there to even out the set.
Incredible shot from Vaga, really threading the needle between all of the offense. And now PLX back in a position where they just need one more goal. But ZZ not trying to let it go without a fight, trying to push forward in the corner. Not quite enough just yet, but it's going to be a little bit difficult in the corner yet again. Vaga and Mirrormeg dealing with the pillar just enough and taking a barrier on the other side. Cakes misses the strike shot. Both barriers down, and PLX now have an open goal to score on.
They have an open goal to score on, and they have a lot of abilities to their name as well. Are they going to be able to find their way past Cakes, though? They are looking to take out ZZZ now down to being staggered. Junobob's coming out to be oppressive, but Vaga and Josh doing a really good job dealing with them. The course now dumping more towards the side of WoChills, and nice clear upwards from Cakes. Almost saves it, but Mirrormeg reads it perfectly to glitch pop it right in to take the second set win for PLX. They're now one set away from making this whole series a clean sweep.
Only one away now, and can easily deny the hot shot away, but 1-2 punch still available, so maybe core speed can become a big win condition for WoChills if the Juno picks that one up. And so far, Hamster Quest has been playing so well, but decides to go for the perfect form instead for more cooldowns. I don't know, I feel like Hamster Quest has been outplaying quite a bit with the core speed, so the 1-2 punch might have really been what they needed, but no, that is not the game plan that WoChills are going for, it seems.
Most likely, Hamster Quest is already pretty confident with the team player just being that extra bit of speed that he needs in most situations, being able to get those passes up to DDD. Other than that, though, more importantly, the 1-2 punch going into the hands of Cakes is going to give him more KO opportunities. Mirrormeg also, though, finding a cyber swipe to get more, and the super surge for that cyber swipe to get even more damage out, more KO threats, as both barriers drop on the side of WoChills. And a nice little set of Mirrormeg also almost scores it in. Vaga with a very oppressive positioning there, though, making use of that Atlas defensive line very far up, as a barrier does drop for PLX, and 2 KOs in total go down.
But Mirrormeg looking to take it himself. The glitch pop, not quite there enough, but a flip available. Pass back to Vaga, pass forward. Trying to utilize the core speed here, unable to do so successfully, and the respawns do come in here. Cakes and Hamster Quest trying to find a dribble, but not quite enough as Mirrormeg plays to the top side, takes out Cakes, and suddenly the goal's wide open.
That Super Surge and Deadeye Valley really coming into play there, as the core is now trying to find its way into that open net. Hamster Quest doing a really good job holding on to it, but not quite enough, as the piercing shot from Josh finds the KO and the goal to find the first goal of this set for PLX. I think WoChills needs to find a little bit more consistent attacks for themselves, as so far the game has been, again, very PLX favored, and another KO for Mirrormeg with a beautiful Amy cyber swipe.
So much damage onto Cakes as well, almost taken out. So much chip onto both surviving members of WoChills. A little bit back onto Mirrormeg, but both barriers down, the goalie down. Dribbling found a little bit as Mirrormeg brought a little bit low. But Josh and Mirrormeg are pushing forward. The passing play found Hamster Quest defense for a moment, and Slime does as well, but now it's a 3v1 for a moment. As once again, the KOs come through, and the Firewall Sentry is too much to deal with.
Yeah, Mirrormeg has been properly unlocked with that Super Surge. I feel like in this set already, that's been 3 KOs of just cyber swipes onto members that are holding the edge a little bit too close to themselves, as they are now 1 goal away from taking the set. A nice pillar from ZZZ will take the first barrier, but it's immediately being traded back. Damage dump still coming up from the side of PLX though, and they almost find the second barrier. Cakes being ready to defend it properly though. HP bar's not looking too great on the side of PLX, but also not looking too great on Woe Chills, as ZZZ is about to be put into stagger again. Now barrier does go down. We are looking at an open net. Hamster Crest almost able to find the sneaky shot through there, but not quite able to realize it, as ZZ is trying to hold on to dear life with Amy and Estelle just pummeling abilities into him over and over again.
Barely surviving and burning the flip. ZZ now going for the goal, and Vaga's Expanse doesn't catch it on the right side. Wow, well played by ZZ to survive there and maybe bring Woe Chills back into this game. But again, PLX just 1 goal away, and we've seen how explosive they can be on the kickoff.
They can be extremely explosive, and to top that off, they also are close to getting 2 flips to be working with here. So if they're coordinating their flips properly, they can definitely find those barriers, but a really clean play from Woe Chills is going to be able to find both barriers, as they're now trying to get this goal score into the open net. Vaga has to use the Expanse there to defend it. Primary coming out as well. ZZ still in a very threatening area. Hamster Quest almost finding the goal, but does find it in the end with a flip, as we're now in a goal 5. Woe Chills seems to be finding a second wind here, but can they carry it over to win the set as well?
That's a very good question. Josh has a flip available, but Mirreg and Vaga are meterless completely here. Need to be very, very careful with how they play. The banish is a possibility, but 2 barriers already taken, and Vaga limiting the damage to just 1 on the other side. Josh's flip could really just end the game here. Goes forward, and Hamster Quest hits it backwards. Oh no, PLX 2-0. They'll take the series.
Unfortunate way to go, but overall, still PLX have been a much more dominant force in this series. Again, in the ad lab, Woe Chills did have a little bit more signs of life, but I feel like PLX still had it in control. We're executing on that damage win con a little bit better, because again, we are looking at the KO tallies, right? The side of PLX finding a grand total of 14 KOs compared to the 5 on the side of Woe Chills. So just really well executed for PLX here. A very much deserving win.
Yeah, PLX executed very well. It was close at times, right? Woe Chills brought us to 0.5s, close points, good kickoffs, KOs, but in the end, PLX looked very, very consistent, and that's what really got them across the finish line. Sloth, anything you want to say before we head on over to a different bracket?
Nothing for me to sign off. I hope you guys are going to be enjoying a little bit of different gameplay ahead of you.
Well, that's it for NASA, but don't go anywhere. We have Bestie Brawl up next. See you soon.